mijn kop. Ik weer dekker moest ziek kleine vaart deemt op. Geet mir geen zacht lid, die drop.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I'm your host, Judy Gold, because I'm the host. Anyway, we have a very special episode this week, and we have a lot of very special episodes coming up because I am re-airing my favorite episodes from years ago. And this is a best of. You know, we're taking the 2 episodes and we're condensing them to one. And this is my interview with the one and only genius. I was so thrilled to interview her, Laraine Newman. Now, I interviewed her a few years ago at the National Comedy Center, and it was a live podcast that we did for the opening of the National Comedy Center, which if you are in upstate New York, it is a great, I mean, you're like, oh, what's a comedy museum about? It is fantastic. National Comedy Center. It's in Jamestown, New York. That is the birthplace of Lucille Ball. So, and it's fascinating. I mean, it was fascinating for us, and we didn't even know what to expect. So I got to interview her in person, and we really, as you know, as I love to do, we really talked about her and just things that, you know, growing up in Beverly Hills, being her drug issues. It's so rich, and I am so excited. She was so honest and warm, and I think you're going to love it. And icon. She's an icon from SNL. And, you know, I can't tell you what it feels like. Well, I probably can. But, you know, interviewing people who were a part of your life, you know, for many years when you were a kid, is just the greatest, because they're so much bigger than life for you, and they remain that way. You know, I remember when I was working at the Rosie O'Donnell show, and they would have these, you know, huge stars on, but it was like I would see someone from my childhood, and that would freak me out more than, you know, today's stars. So she's just the greatest, and she's Hannah Einbinder's mother. So there you go. And this is pre-Hacks. So, you know, we talk about her children, but Hannah at this point was not a household name. So I hope you enjoy it. And, you know, I figured if This American Life can re-air their episodes, so can Kill Me Now, because I am working on my show. We're the final weeks of, you know, finishing the script and making it perfect. And then we go into rehearsal, and then we have tech rehearsal, and then we start previews March 4th at 59 East 59. Yes, I can say that. The book is coming to life with the help of Eddie Safferty and under the direction of the incredible, Eddie's Jewish, B.D. Wong, who is a genius. I love this guy so much. So get your tickets for that. I'm really excited about it. Also, something awful happened this week. Well, a lot of things have been happening. But you know, 50th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, it was overturned. So that happened last week. The artistic director of Primary Stages, which is the production company that is producing my show. It's a theater company. I can't call it a production company, but the longtime artistic director of Primary Stages passed away on last, I think it was on Friday. And the sweetest, his name was Andrew Lancey, and he was the kindest, most gentle soul, really smart, very calming, I did a reading of the show and he introduced it, and I cannot believe that weeks later he wouldn't even be here with us anymore. The time I spent with him in, teaching, I taught at primary stages, and the time that I spent with him in the creative process, I feel so lucky and humbled, and I really just can't believe it. It's such a loss. And so I want to say thank you to Andrew, and send love to his wife, Mary Bacon, their child, a body who it's just so fucking devastating, and such a good person and so smart and so creative. And yet these fucking assholes are alive. Like, that's what I can't stand. Like, Orange Fuckface is alive. Like, how do these good people, it's just go, and these fucking assholes live on forever? Okay, I had to get it out. It's fucking annoying. So, I'm sending love to Andrew's family. I hope that, we have some sort of positive week. I fucking hate George Santos. And, I hate him so much. I can't believe the media, like on SNL last week on Saturday, he was on a lot because he's such this fucking psycho, but I'm sure he's enjoying all of the attention. Don't you think? He's like loving it because he's a psychopath. And the fact that these fucking Republicans do nothing, they don't care. They don't care if you lie. They don't care if you are who you are. It's disgusting. Not good. Not a good week last week, but we have to move forward. We have to hope that, oh God, I can't even fucking lie. Okay. I'll try to be hopeful, but it's very difficult. I know, Anyway, so that's what happened last week. And I want you to know that this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 26, 27, 28, I will be in Washington, D.C. at the Comedy Loft, the D.C. Comedy Loft. I have one show Thursday at 7:30, two shows on Friday and Saturday at 7:30 and 9:30. Please get your asses there. I haven't played in D.C. in so long, and I love D.C. And I want to fill the fucking seats. You know what I'm saying, baby? All right, so I'm really excited about this week's episode. I just emailed Laraine to tell her, and she was so happy. She's just salt of the earth. And what a life she had. And she's continuing to watch her kids succeed. It's just, she's amazing and brutally honest. So I want you to sit back. I want you to relax. And I really hope you enjoy this week's episode of Kill Me Now with the one and only Laraine Newman. I cannot believe who I get to talk to today.
Quit it.
All right, there's certain guests I have that, have a profound impact on my life. You happen to be one of them.
Thank you
when
so
I
much.
think of, my growing up and my sense of humor and people that I really could relate to, you are on that very short list.
I'm very flattered. I love your stand-up.
Oh, I love you, ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Laraine Newman is here! Woo! Now, Laraine, I have this obnoxious habit during my podcast where anytime I mention anything remotely Jewish, I ring a bell. So
I'm down.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
I don't know. It's my mother coming, my dead mother. You grew up in L.A.
Yes.
I find it very interesting that you're the granddaughter of a cattle rancher in Arizona, and you're a Jew. Like, how did that happen? First of all, how did your family ever get to Arizona?
Well, actually, they started in L.A. My dad was born in L.A. in
Right.
1916.
Yeah. Oh, my father was born in 1916 as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Aw.
But in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Okay, good.
Well, my dad was born in L.A., and then they moved to Arizona, but they would come back to L.A. for the summer.
Right.
So I have pictures of my dad, at Venice Beach when he's
Right.
in his teens.
No way.
And it all looks the same, by the way. It's so cool. But yeah, I just told Paul Provenza this story earlier today, but I brought a cat into the house once, not knowing that my father hated cats.
Right.
And he actually said these words to me, my Jewish father. You're going to date? I said,
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry.
bring a
Double
cat
one.
in the house, and my dad says, "You get that ornery varmint out of here." And he meant it.
Wow.
He was just, I mean, it was shocking. It was a side of him I'd never really seen.
You know what's like? I didn't even know people lived in LA in 1916. Like, how did your family get to the what? I mean, usually, we're Jews. We come from Europe, and we go to the East Coast because it's closer. But
I don't know. I can't explain it.
All right. So you went. Beverly Hills High School to me is like. I mean, I think of what
It's such a shonda.
it is. Wait. Thank you.
I just, I started out in Westwood, I swear.
Okay.
And my parents moved
O.J. murder. Go ahead.
me and my twin brother to Beverly Hills when we were 11.
Right.
And it was like going from Mayberry to hell.
Right.
That book, Less Than Zero,
Right. Yeah.
accurate.
Right. Really?
And, Less Than Zero was written years after I graduated, but there was a certain tragedy about the offspring of famous people.
right.
It was either a tragedy or, they really had the aptitude and they went on to succeed.
Right.
But then there were the other casualties that were just, I felt such compassion for them.
Right. Tori Spelling. What was it? So you're one of four.
Yes.
And at the age of 14, you're working with a comedy troupe. Doing stuff in parks. 16?
Yeah,
The
16.
internet. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that started because I saw Marcel Marceau at Royce Hall.
Oh, all right. We're getting to him
That's all
later
right.
too. All right.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I saw him at Royce Hall, which is
Yeah.
at UCLA, and I was captivated
Right,
by
of course.
somebody who was getting laughs without words.
Right.
So I went backstage and I asked him if there was somebody in LA who could teach me.
Right.
So he gave me the name of Richmond Shepard. So I started studying with him. Yeah, Jew. Okay.
Okay. Sorry. I just checked with Laraine.
But I also learned improv.
Right.
So, and then they formed a company out of, I was in a company with all adults, which
Right.
made me feel so affirmed.
Right. Anyone have a tissue? Okay.
I have a tissue for my issue. Yeah, that was exciting, but because of that, I mounted the first improv show at my high school.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah, we had something called Thursday Theater where the
Right.
kids could direct, and that's what I did.
So who'd you go to high school with? Famous children of famous people.
Joanna Gleason,
Wow.
she was, and she was in all the musicals.
Right.
She's Monty Hall's daughter.
Yes, of course.
And Richard, her younger brother, was in my grade.
Right.
Does
She
anybody?
still works a lot, Joanna.
Oh,
Gleason.
she's so
an
good.
amazing actress.
And she was good in high school.
Yeah.
When I was going in as a freshman, I saw a play during the summer starring this unforgettable kid who was Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh my God.
And I never forgot him.
Yeah.
And our teacher, our drama teacher was named Mr. Ingle. And when he came to host, what? No, not at all.
No, take that back. Sorry.
Yeah. I know it sounds Jewish.
Yeah, Engel.
It does.
Yeah, all right,
Engel. When Richard hosted Saturday Night Live, he came up to me and hugged me and said, "John Engel didn't like me either." And I
No
was like,
way.
"Why would you assume he didn't like me?"
Oh, they must have had a little conversation about you.
I don't
Wow.
know. No, he was actually, Mr. Engel was very supportive. He didn't really know what to make of me.
Right.
So he just kind of let me do my thing.
Right.
Because I wasn't a singer. I wasn't really an actress. I was just
Funny.
something else.
A character.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I was a character, Judy.
She was a character. So so you would perform in parks in LA outside?
That was the thing with Richmond Shepard.
Right.
And it was like in Watts and East
Really?
LA. Yeah. And I remember some really angry gentleman coming up to me and saying, you're teaching our kids to aspire to something that they can never have.
What?
And please get out of here.
No way.
Yeah. And he was scary. He was fierce. And I understood what he meant.
Right.
But they were my ride.
Right.
So
So you had to, yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone in your class go into show business and succeed as
Trying to
you
think.
did?
That Desi Arnaz was in high school at the time I was.
Right.
But I don't think anybody in my class, no.
Were you automatically popular if you were like the child of a famous person in high school? I mean, because Beverly Hills High School is not like a normal.
No,
You know?
it's an absolute ghetto. I mean, it was
Right.
like 99% Jewish.
Right.
And every summer, people would come back from summer with a nose job saying, I fell. The Band-Aid, the black eyes.
Oh, that's so
You
funny.
look so different.
Yeah.
And that made me very angry.
Right.
And as a result, I didn't get a nose job till I was 30.
Oh.
I gave it a
I
chance.
loved your nose.
Well, it started to look like a baby shoe, so I knew it wasn't getting any better.
I'm up to like boot. I'm up to, I think it's pretty. Well, I don't care. Okay, so then you go to secretarial school after
I went
that?
to Sawyer Business College, where I was oddly enough introduced to cocaine.
Oh.
Yes, and we got married.
Oh. That was a good marriage, huh?
Yes, it was.
A lot of ups and downs,
The
right?
loss. Oh my God.
I got no laugh on ups and downs when she was married to cocaine. I mean, seriously,
No,
guys. These
I
are
was
funny
talking
jokes.
over you. That's a good one.
Thank you. So you go to secretarial school,
Yeah, for something to fall back on.
right? Because that's a thing.
Yes.
And then, how long did you remain on the cocaine marriage?
Till 1987.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I was a holdout.
That was
I was
good.
dedicated. I tried to make it work.
So did you learn? I mean, so obviously you learned a lot there doing contracts and stuff.
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. But at the same time, my sister. Well, I was also at Cal Arts for 3 months,
Right.
Which is where I met Paul Rubens.
Oh, really?
And did an improv show with him,
Right.
And then my sister was in this improv workshop,
Right.
So, and I was at Cal Arts for 3 months, and I understood very clearly that I was not an actress. I
Right.
didn't want to do the things that you had to do that were required of
Right,
you.
right.
Which was, revealing an
I
intimate-
know.
Yeah,
What is that?
I just was not willing to do that.
I think that some acting teachers do that and get off on it. Like that you have to act out the worst day of your worst experience and just
Well, but I think people who are good actors,
Right.
and are able to evoke that in
Right.
a real way, it's cathartic for
Right.
the audience. And for the longest time, I always felt that there was something just a little unsavory and self-serving about being an actor.
right.
But someone had said to me that really it is catharsis for an audience.
Right.
And
Yeah,
after,
but you don't have to do it in front of. I mean, you can have that skill, but not have to.
there are people who are willing to do it,
Yeah.
and those that are not go into comedy.
Right. Exactly. This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome. You then, you're a founding member with your sister.
Yes, we
of the Groundlings.
and everybody else in the group.
Right.
The workshop we turned into the Groundlings.
Right.
Yeah.
Which this is before UCB, before everything. So they had in Canada, they had
Second City. And Chicago, Second City.
Chicago City Limit.
Jane was in the Proposition,
Right.
and there was the committee in San Francisco.
Right. And then you guys, and I mean, so many great people. My friend Judy Toll was a.
Oh, Judy. Just talked about her today.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
I love you, Judy.
We love you.
She was amazing. She
Really
was a
funny.
Groundlings. And now
Yeah.
her nephew, her sister, this is
Joanne.
Joanne, who's one of my best friends.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I stayed with them.
Such a great writer.
Yeah, she's amazing. And so they're Jamie, the little kid, now taking classes at she has a son.
Oh, the
who's taking-
Groundlings?
yeah.
Oh.
So you do this, and that's where Lorne Michaels finds you in this
He
Lily
found
Tomlin.
me in the Groundlings and cast me.
Damn you, internet. Fuck.
He and Lily came to see the show. They
Right.
needed men for the special.
Right.
And they saw me doing characters.
Right.
And hired me.
Wow. Did you know then how?
What a serious break that
Yeah.
was. I believed that it was a one-time thing and that would be the end of it. I never thought that anything would come of it.
Right.
But I was thrilled. And, I was with these people who were, professionals. And
Right.
I met Valerie Bromfield there.
Oh, I love Val.
Yeah, and
Lois, yeah.
Valerie was Dan Aykroyd's partner in Canada. And truly, I mean, Gary Shandling has this bit about this gesture that croupiers do when they're going to leave the table, which, basically he said that his therapist said that when he told his therapist that his mother wanted to marry him, which is that, like that.
Right.
And when I saw Valerie Bromfield, there were auditions for the new Smothers Brothers show at the Comedy Store.
Right.
And now Valerie Bromfield, and
Right.
I thought, let's see what this is about. Her characters were so good that I couldn't even be jealous because she
Right.
did stuff that I wouldn't even have it in me to do.
Right.
And I know Lily felt that way about her too.
Really?
Absolutely.
And she hates the business, quit the business, and she's
like
a therapist.
I know. She's amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I loved her. Well, I still love her, but I haven't talked to her in a while.
But yeah, Marilyn Miller I met and Rosie Schuster. And then I was back to the grind at the Groundlings and thought, this is the end of that. And then this guy named Joel Silver, who later went on to become a really successful movie producer, but at the time he was Aaron Russo's assistant.
Wow.
Aaron Russo managed the Manhattan Transfer,
Right.
and they were doing a special. So Joel hires me. He sees the Valley Girl, and he hires me.
Right.
And I go to the rehearsal, and at the end, I'm like, "What time do you want me tomorrow?" And he
Right.
was twisting in the wind because I was fired. Because, Aaron Russo did not get the Valley Girl at
Right.
all.
Wow.
And I will always love him for that. He's got kind of a dicey reputation
Right.
as kind of a beast. And I think, somebody imitated him on SCTV.
Right.
But I will always love him for that because he really, it was hurting him to tell me I was fired
Right.
more than it would hurt me.
Right.
And another time I was brought in to audition for Bob Hope as the Valley Girl. And I went into Bob Hope's dressing room, and it was full of what I think were his...
Me too.
No,
Okay.
it was no. Why not me too?
Yeah.
It was full of his golf buddies. I'm pretty sure that.
Right.
And he was sitting on a couch. His legs
Man
were
spread, yeah.
akimbo, a man spread. His arm was resting on a golf iron. And I swear to God, I think he might not have been wearing underwear because I could see.
Gross.
I could see the outline of his balls.
Ew.
Which, when you're trying to do
No
an
one
audition.
wants to see Bob Hope's
it's-
balls.
So, exactly. And it was very distracting for
Was
the
it
audition.
like his nose? Did they go up at the end, or?
But he did not. I mean, he looked at me with these spaniel eyes, and it
Right.
was just like, you do not belong in show business.
Oh,
Not
my
even in the
God,
building
it's
of
just-
show business.
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
constant.
it was so mortifying.
So, SNL.
Yes.
How does that? So, where, when, how? So, how do you find out you got it?
Well, Lorne came to see me a second time.
Right.
In the Groundlings. Then he said, asked me to meet him at the Chateau Marmont, which is where he was living.
Oh wait, Lorne Michaels. Sorry. Go ahead.
And we're talking outside by the pool.
Right.
And he said, I'm hired to do a show in New York. It's to replace the Johnny Carson reruns on the weekend. It's for 13 weeks with a 5-year option. And I'm thinking, like, that'll ever happen.
Yeah. Right. Are you living? Do you have your own apartment? Are you living with your parents still?
I have my own apartment.
Okay. Go ahead.
He said it's a cross between Monty Python and 60 Minutes. Mm-hmm. I didn't know who Monty Python was.
Wow.
But I knew that I would work with Lorne no matter what,
Right.
because I really appreciated his taste. Mm-hmm. Because he really got the joke in ways that I don't think anybody
Right.
did at that time. Mm-hmm. And he said, you'd be living in New York, and that's when my stomach fell into my feet.
Right.
Because it scared me. New York
Right.
scared me. It
Had
just,
you ever visited or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Once.
Right.
But I would never have moved there to make it,
Right.
you know. But I thought, oh, well, it's 13
an
weeks.
adventure,
I could
yeah.
do 13 weeks.
Right.
Drove cross country with my
What kind of car?
A VW Bug.
Color.
Yeah, blue.
Mm-hmm.
All my written material in the car. Mm-hmm. Do you know the actor Vincent Schiavelli? He
Yes.
was in a lot of Milos Forman
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
He was friends with my boyfriend at the time, so I think we stayed at his place in the Village.
Okay.
And then we had to move up to Midtown, and our car was stolen
No fucking
with
way.
all my written material.
No way.
So, you know.
And you were probably more upset about the material than the car.
Oh,
of
God,
course.
yes. Yeah. And I had my grandmother's jewelry in
Oh,
there, all my clothes,
God.
all my clothes.
fuck.
The only thing I had was what I was wearing.
Right.
And at first I thought, gee, this is so freeing.
Right.
And then later on, I realized, gee, this is
Fucked up.
bad.
Yeah.
This is bad. And especially since Lorne had asked me to do kind of a performance for the writers.
Right.
Because they didn't know my work.
Right.
They didn't know my characters. Well, you know.
Did everyone have to do that?
No.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, but Gilda and I saw Jane Curtin's audition. It was between
Really?
her and Mimi Kennedy.
wow.
And
Really?
they were both great.
Right.
But we watched a lot of auditions.
So were you one of? So you were one of the first people he said you're in this?
I think, yeah. I mean, I didn't knowingly audition.
Right.
That's my point.
But
Because had
that's
I
the
known,
best way
Oh,
to
God,
audition.
Yeah, but then having to do a show for the writers, I knew I was pretty much auditioning.
Auditioning. Right.
And
Who were the writers at the time?
the original writers? It was Tom Schiller, ding, Alan Zweibel, Michael O'Donoghue, don't ding. Oh my God, Franken and Davis, you can ding for
Yeah,
Franken.
Franken.
Jim Downey, but he came the second
Right.
year. Rosie Schuster, Ann Beats, Marilyn Miller, Herb Sargent, Chevy and Garrett were hired as writers.
Wow.
And then they, you know,
So you went into a room. Were they all there?
yeah.
Did
And
they react? Because you know how horrible it is.
let me just set the scene.
Okay. Sorry.
First of all, I didn't remember some of these characters I hadn't performed in months.
Right.
So, you know, I couldn't remember the connective tissue that filled in these monologues,
from
these
one to
character
another, yeah,
monologues. So I was scared shitless. No saliva in my mouth, nauseous, trembling,
Right.
freezing. Out of body experience. I could see myself I was watching myself from a corner of the ceiling. And I was awful. I mean, it was absolutely terrible. Not the best foot forward, but what eventually happened was that I would sit in on writing sessions and I would see if maybe a character of mine could work in that sketch.
Oh, that's a good
And
idea,
I would
yeah.
do the character, I would improvise lines for that
Right.
character, and that's how people were able to see what I did.
So what were the writing sessions like? I mean, and how long were they?
All night.
Everyone in them? Were they in a room all together?
No, everybody had their own office. But
Okay.
when I did my audition, we had no furniture anywhere. There was no furniture. All there were these long phone cords with telephones.
Right.
That was it. No chairs, nothing.
Wow.
And then, they built the offices. Everybody had their own office.
Right.
The host would come on Monday. Everybody would pitch their ideas. Lorne would choose certain ideas to work on. And then the writers would start Monday night, Tuesday, all day Tuesday night into Wednesday for read through. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if anybody necessarily chose to work all night, but it was a 90-minute show live every week.
Right.
And sets would be built once, Lorne chose the sketches for the show.
Right.
Sets
So they started Wednesday night building the set for
sets.
Saturday.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is amazing when I think about it. There's nothing more heroic than a crew, a TV crew.
Oh, beyond.
Even when you watch it now and you see when they go to commercial, you see, scenes being moved about and sets being changed. It's like a ballet.
Right.
They're really, to me, they're just heroic.
So it's you, Jane.
Jane was never there.
Really?
She was never there for the writing. She went home like a smart
who would be
person.
who was there? What are the other was?
Chevy would be there. Me, Gilda. John would not be there. Danny was a big time writer.
Right.
He wrote a lot on the show.
Jim or John? I'm sorry.
John would be there to hang out with Danny. I don't know
Right.
that he necessarily wrote.
Right. Did the people who wrote and performed they were compensated differently, correct?
Pardon me?
The people who wrote and performed, like Chevy, who was a writer and
I don't know the answer to that.
wow, because now of course they would be.
Yes,
because of
I really don't know the answer to that.
So, first show.
First show.
Are
George
you
Carlin.
do you have any clue? Any clue?
No.
Are you freaking out?
I'm not a big picture gal.
Right.
And we had very little to do.
Right.
So I wasn't really freaking out. But I remember they had written, George Carlin did not want to do any sketches. And they had written this great sketch for him, which was Alexander the Great's high school reunion. And it was so good. And when I saw that it was being cut, I just couldn't understand it.
Right.
And that was just shapes of things to come, of course.
Right.
But at the time, I just thought, man, they don't know what they're missing.
Now they do the rehearsal show with an audience.
Right.
At whatever.
Which is really, if you ever get tickets to see SNL, go to the dress rehearsal.
Yeah, the dress rehearsal, because you see the full show and then they cut stuff out for the real show.
Yeah.
And that was the way it was.
And it still is.
Yep. So you're live? Was there an element of, oh my God, we're live?
I don't think you can really be aware of anybody other than the 300 people in the studio.
Right.
And remember that we all came from improv background.
Right.
All came from live theater.
Right.
So the structure of the show, being on your mark, being in costume, doing the sketch, running off stage, changing, coming back in the dark.
Right.
Lights go up, you do the next sketch. We were all trained to do that already.
Right.
So, we were all nervous, of course. But you can't really be cognizant of millions of people watching you. And we didn't even think anybody was watching us.
Right.
In the beginning, nobody was.
Right. I was. Now, was there a lot of competition among the cast?
Yes, of course. But still, nobody was undercutting. Nobody was conniving.
Right.
Or duplicitous.
Right.
We were together as a cast.
Right.
It was really more hurt feelings than anything else.
Right, because it's like, oh, that sketch got picked and mine got...
Yeah, but it wasn't, it was a meritocracy, and it still is.
Right.
It's not about who wrote it. Was it a woman? Is it about a woman?
Right.
None of that. It was a meritocracy. Whatever was funny went into the show.
Right.
Period.
So... we have Valley Girl, which I must have done thousands of times
Really?
in high school. Oh my God, that was a huge thing when I was growing up.
Oh gosh.
The Valley. I mean, I didn't even know what a Valley Girl was until you did that.
Okay.
The Conehead. Like, how did the Conehead sketch start?
The Coneheads. Before we went on the air, Lorne thought it'd be a good idea if we did improv at his loft. Which was a good idea for us to get to know one another. And Danny and Jane and I got a suggestion of an alien family. And we just assumed the roles of them as the dad and me as the teenage kid, and I created the voice. But it wasn't until Danny, I think he was watching This Island Earth.
Right.
It all came together for him and Tom Davis.
Wow. I mean, that's iconic. And you're it's in the center, your hat, your
no,
cone.
that's from the movie. You know, it's so funny to me.
I was like looking at that going, did they take that and then put plaster over? I mean,
I don't know, but I mean, it's so funny to me that the young actress that they got who looked like me right here, that was it.
Right.
People think I was in that movie more than I actually was. So don't mention it, Judy.
Okay, fuck that movie. That movie sucked. It was only good on SNL.
It was it was so good.
There were a lot of drugs going on. Is that correct?
There was some, Gilda didn't do drugs. Jane didn't do drugs. I came there with a drug habit.
Right.
So it became more available to me.
Right.
It's always funny to me when they say, yeah, they got into drugs because they couldn't stand the success. It's such bullshit.
Right.
If you're going to be an addict, you're going to be an addict. If you have more money and availability, it's going to get worse.
So did anyone ever say anything to you? Like,
no.
Wow.
But it was also part of the culture. And as
Right,
long
of
as
course.
I never worked high.
Right.
So, but it did affect my overall spirit.
Yeah. Of course. Your favorite character that you
I've rarely repeated characters. That was my great big idea, even though Lorne implored me to do that because he felt like, obviously it'd make you more memorable.
Like Rosanna Dana for
Exactly.
Gilda, yeah.
But I knew better. I wasn't going to be a hack.
Right.
It was such a wrong-headed notion.
Right.
So as a result, it's still to this day, were you in all 4 seasons? Our 5 seasons? Yes, I was.
Yeah.
But I created this character of Lena Wertmuller.
Oh, yeah.
Which was so random and out there and obscure, and I don't think anybody really knew who she was. But she just tickled me.
Right. Can I talk to her right now?
Let me see if I can remember how she sounded. It was really a bad French-Canadian accent because she was Swiss. So I don't know why I did that.
So you do the first show, you do the first 13. When do you know that it's getting picked up?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Next. I'm sorry.
It's all right. When do you realize this is the zeitgeist? This is...
One day, Gilda and I were walking on 6th Avenue, and we had done the sleepover sketch with Madeline Kahn.
Oh, loved her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, she's one of my biggest influences. Eve Arden, Madeline Kahn, and Richard Pryor.
Eve Arden.
Those are the people.
Yeah.
But somebody yelled across the street at us, "That's disgusting!" Which was a line from the sketch.
Right.
And that's when we knew that people were watching.
That's amazing.
That's when I knew.
So I read that you also realized that you were a celebrity because John and Yoko stopped you on the street.
No, I was walking through.
Fuck you.
No.
All right.
I came from a photo session with
right.
Francesca Scavula.
Ah.
And I was going to read through, the host was Jill Clayburgh. I'm in the lobby of 30 Rock walking to the elevators, and in the peripheral vision, I see these 2 figures. They come into focus, and it's John and Yoko.
Wow.
And as they pass in front of me, John goes, "Hi, Laraine." Not hi,
Right.
hi, Laraine. And, I was like Lou Costello. I was like,
Right.
John, no saliva in my mouth.
Right.
I went into the elevator and I felt like screaming, John said hi to me in the hall.
Right.
But then I thought, that really sounds like a high school thing to say.
Right.
So I didn't. But man. Oh,
That must have been
yeah.
so incredible. All right. Favorite host?
My God, that would mean I have to remember. Madeline Kahn.
Yep.
Steve Martin was always good. He was pretty much a cast member.
Yeah.
Whenever Michael Palin hosted, it was any of the Pythons. They were great. And then Kirk Douglas was fun.
Oh, yeah.
People who were...
A lot of people don't know that about Kirk Douglas.
Yeah. He actually got my phone number and called me one day at my apartment while I was tripping.
Oh, my God. Did you answer the phone?
Of course I did.
Oh, yeah. This is where you could screen calls. And how was that conversation?
You're going to hear this phrase a lot. I don't remember. Did you know after the how did they get rid of you? How did they get rid of the... I mean, we weren't fired.
Right.
It was the kind of thing where, but thank you for phrasing it in that way.
I'm very, sorry. No, but it's like, all right, sorry.
Lorne was not going to stay after 5 years.
Right.
Lorne was leaving.
Right.
So none of us wanted to do the show if he wasn't there.
Right.
And I wanted to go home.
Yeah, you didn't like New York. I read that often that you didn't like.
It wasn't
like
for me.
Yeah.
And there's an aspect of my dislike for it that is so mundane, but I come from a car culture.
Right.
Where I can just go whenever I want to. And if I wanted to pick up my dry cleaning and do a big marketing in one day, I could do that. You couldn't do that in New York.
And that is the reason I love New York, is because I hate the car. And I love that I can either walk, ride a bike, take a subway, take a bus, take a cab,
Yeah, but Judy, there's nothing like driving up PCH with the ocean on your left and just blasting, your tunes, and it's just fantastic.
John Belushi's death.
God.
Horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I must say that I've lost so many people.
Yeah.
We've all lost. But I mean, I think specifically people from the show have lost people in an unnatural way.
Yep.
So
John
many
Candy,
that when I hear certain people die, I'm surprised that I don't cry.
Right.
But I really feel like I've become numb.
Right.
To some extent. And I knew John Candy too.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of these people. I had met Chris Farley. We did the Aspen Comedy Festival once, and I went out to dinner with Steve Martin, and he said, "God, what do you think? What are we going to do?" And I said, "Don't worry, Norm Macdonald will talk about ass rape, and and Chris Farley will do something."
Yeah.
And I was right. But I was at a Super Bowl party at John Lovitz's house one time, and the caterer had made these hot dog buns that were shaped like footballs. And John Lovitz had some kittens. And Chris put a kitten in the
inside?
bun,
no way.
And it was like, talking casually and pretending like he was going to bite it. It was just such a great visual.
That's hilarious.
Oh, my God. God bless him.
You leave, you go back to New York.
Back to LA.
Back to LA. I'm sorry. You leave New York, go back to LA. And what happened? I mean, is it a complete adjustment?
Here's the thing. Growing up in Beverly Hills, you either see Cary Grant when you go Christmas shopping.
Right.
Or you see the actor that has been on a series and is no longer on a series.
Right.
And you see that look.
Right.
And I knew that I was going to be facing
Do I have that look right now?
No, you don't,
okay.
honey.
Sorry.
You don't. I never wanted to have that look, but I did eventually get that look to some extent. But I had so many friends.
Right.
And so I was always like at the A-list parties. So I just, even though I wasn't doing the kind of work I wanted to do, I was still among people that made me feel connected to my community.
Right.
One time, Penny Marshall and Carrie Fisher had their birthdays both in October, so they give a joint party. And this was like the pinnacle of A-list parties. I mean, everybody was there. And I remember seeing Clint Eastwood turn to Bette Midler and say, "Man, there sure are a lot of stars here." It's high school. That's all high school.
Amazing. Showbiz is total high school. It's like you're popular, you're a burnout, you're, Do you think the industry has treated you well or treated you fair? I mean, I do this because I love it. I don't think I've, do you ever?
I think I've been treated very fairly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, for considering, to be perfectly honest, I don't think my work on SNL was that good.
What?
I swear to God.
No way.
You have to believe me, I don't. So, it's, I feel like the industry treated me appropriately in terms of the impression that I made.
Right.
So, but now, the only thing about animation is that you're anonymous.
Right.
And so people don't think I've been working.
Right.
And that's a little daunting.
Right.
It's like, are you Laraine Newman? Yes.
I hate when people say shit.
Are you still working?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
I know.
You're an adult, so you don't watch cartoons.
Right. But that's so annoying. People say shit to performers that they would never say to regular people. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I
heard your law firm went down. That doesn't happen. We get so much shit like, oh, we saw you the other night. I mean, how do you think you did? Shut the fuck up.
Oh,
Have you ever had someone go, oh, did you enjoy? Fuck you.
Oh, God. I had someone, this was memorable, say, oh, are you Laraine? Yes, I thought it was you, but you weren't ugly enough.
What?
Okay.
It's unbelievable. The no boundaries bullshit.
Yeah. But that's a rare occasion.
Right.
Mostly people are really kind.
Yeah, but they do it to stand-ups, I think, a little more because you're,
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Right. What do you think of the state of comedy today, now that we are at this point where comics are being held to a higher standard than fucking asshole the president of the United States? We are held to this standard. We get vilified for saying things, and yet this.
Are you referring to
orange fuckface?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
People believe what they want to believe.
But I think I think that comedy's really important now.
Absolutely.
But I don't know I think that people don't, I don't know, that they don't have, we don't have an attention span anymore. So people will knee-jerk react to a word in a joke. And I don't think people take the time. What is the intent of this joke? What is I'm laughing, but what is this joke saying?
Well, you have to consider the audience.
Right.
I really think that, this is not going to go over well for some conservatives in the audience, but...
Do we have any? I mean, what conservatives like comedy? Anyway, all right.
I saw
sorry.
On Wednesday, the Kamel Bell.
Yes.
He started to say something. I think he was talking about Ving Rhames being arrested outside his own house.
Yes.
And there was a girl in the audience that said, "Don't lecture me." Well, how is that lecturing anybody?
It's a premise.
What that illustrates to me is that she was not listening.
Right.
And that there was no real, what's the word, critical thinking?
Right.
Yeah.
Dumb. She's a dumb bitch and a racist.
Dumb.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a dumb bitch.
I would call her a cunt, actually.
I would call her, well, I don't
fucking
say...
white supremacist
I don't say
piece of
the guy's
shit. Yeah.
name, the orange one. I call him Donald Twunt. That's
Donald
my name
Twunt.
for the creature.
I hate him. I hate him.
I really hate him, and I hate what he's doing to this country.
Yeah. Obama, the best sense of humor.
Oh, my
the
God,
best.
yes.
And this asshole can't even go... First of all, he did SNL and wasn't funny because he can't laugh at himself,
I know. Well, the Correspondents' Dinner before he was president, I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, it was Seth Meyers.
Yes. Oh, God, he's just a moron.
I know.
Has there ever been a president that has been called a moron by people who are in his party?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's amazing. He has no sense of humor.
I love the CEO of Harley Davidson calling him a moron.
I know. That's awesome. I always ask 2 questions to my guests. The first one is because
I'm Jewish. I am Jewish.
Oh, fuck. Okay. I'm very, I suffer from anxiety, depression. I had a very bad clinical depression. So we're very pro mental health.
Yes.
And I get a lot of letters like, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, mental health, people don't realize it's just like having like a physical problem, you know?
Yes.
So we always, no, I like that. Thank you for clapping. But it's true. It's like, come on. You know, if if you suffer from any sort of anxiety, depression, it's like, you realize it is not under your control. Yeah, people are like, I was in a clinical depression. All my mother did. I mean, she loved me, but she would be like, every day she'd call me, are you better? Are you better?
Oh, my God.
Do you feel better? How are you today? You better? You better? You better? You better? You better? And I was like, oh my God, I can't. Okay. So we always ask our guests if they have taken any sort of antidepressants.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
They saved my life.
Right. Exactly.
You know, I think people that have depression. I beg your pardon.
Are you better?
Yeah. I'm managing, honey. Yeah. But you know, for those of us that have chronic depression, it's bottomless, and antidepressants gives it a floor.
Right.
It doesn't eliminate it.
Right.
It just gives it a floor so that it has a reasonable depth, but it's not endless and bottomless to where the world just isn't worth being a part of.
But it's interesting when you go through that and you think, like these horrible, Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade, and you can say, I mean, horrible. Yes. I would never do it. But I totally, people are like, oh, we had everything in the world. But you know what it feels like to be like, wouldn't the world be better if I wasn't,
and even I'm always surprised that people who have children kill themselves.
Yes,
because
same.
I know I would never do that to my kids. But I've never been in a place where I thought they would be better off without me.
I think that's where they get to, you know. And then I always ask, the name of my podcast is Kill Me Now because I get aggravated I get pissed off at, like an unnatural degree.
I find myself saying almost 6 times a day, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Over, if I've missed the toothpaste on the,
Right. What pisses you off to the point of, that you just are like,
There's 2 things.
Okay, good.
One is the women that think that they can catch something from a toilet seat.
Oh, I know.
So they do that ski jump thing and end up pissing all over the seat.
All over the fucking seat
and then
the floor.
I fucking sit in it.
I fucking hate that. What is that? And they don't clean it up.
And they don't clean it up.
It's all over the floor.
And there's a shield right there.
Right.
There's a fucking shield that you can pull out and put on. The second thing is that people don't realize that when the traffic light is out, it works like a stop sign.
Right.
Or in the left turn lane, people who are too timid to pull out into the intersection.
Right.
I lose my mind.
Yeah. It's so fucking annoying. That toilet seat thing, no one's ever said that. I can't fucking take it. Yeah. And I just...
And racism. Racism is...
Racism, I can't. That I can't even fucking deal with. Thank you so much for listening to Kill Me Now with Laraine Newman. How incredible that I got to spend time with her and get to share it with you. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling. This podcast is really unairable and would not be possible without the help of Brittany Jo Sowards Richmond. If you haven't subscribed and left a review, it's annoying because I really need you to do that because then I get advertisers, I get, to sort of pay for this since it's now costing me money, but I love you. So please, 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 please subscribe and leave a review. Okay. Also, my book, if you don't have it, I hate you. Yes, I can say that. When They Come for the Comedians, We're All in Trouble is coming to life as an off-Broadway show. Previews begin March 4th, and it runs through April 16th at 59E 59th Street. It's 59 East 59th Street Theaters because the address is 59 East 59th Street. It's a great bunch of theaters there. So I'm excited to be there. It's called Yes, I Can Say That, written with my friend Eddie Sarfati and directed by the multi-talented, I hope I didn't say that too loud, B.D. Wong. So that's what I'm really, working on, and I'm really proud of it. So get your fucking asses there. But in the meantime, I will be in DC this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 26, 27, 28, at the DC Comedy Loft. And I haven't been in DC, as I mentioned earlier in the show, in the beginning, in a very long time, and I love fucking performing in DC. So get your fucking asses there. DC Comedy Loft. 1 show Thursday, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 7:30, 9:30, 7:30 on Thursday. So there's that. And then February 4th, I will be in Avenel, New Jersey, right by where I grew up. Okay? Avenel, New Jersey, February 4th at the Avenel Performing Arts Center. Get your asses there. I have a lot to say. Growing up there and going back. It's so weird when you go back to where you came from and do stand-up. So that will be a fucking excellent show. And I have the amazing John Fish opening for me. I fucking love that guy. So that's going to be just amazing, incredible. I can't think of any more accolade words. So that's all. I know I got a lot of not hate mail, but concern mail from people who were like, Judy, why don't you take a screenshot of this? Why don't you take a screenshot of that? So here we go. First of all, I want to say thank you to Karen, who was at my show in Sellersville, Pennsylvania. Karen, yes, her name is Karen. It's with a C. And she bought me she brought me a bell, a really cool bell. I'm going to take a picture of it and I'm going to post my new bell that Karen sent me. Thank you, Karen. I also am looking up okay, here we go. No, that's not it. Okay. I want to say thank you to Robert Albini. I think it's Albini, Albini. Could be Albini, but I think it's Albini. Because there's only, it could be Albini because there's one N. Okay, whatever it is. Thank you. He listens to the end. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Okay, wait, I'm going back. I'm looking right now while you're on the phone. I'm looking. So that is Robert Albini. Okay. This one I love. I also want to say Christy, I love you. Thank you for listening to the end. Christy with a CH. She is it looks like her name on socials is Paid in Worms. So that sounds really appetizing. Thank you, Christy. I also want to say that, thank you to the people who've been trying to repost the news about my off-Broadway show, and they're trying to repost it on Facebook, but since I have a ball gag in my mouth, they're having trouble since it's breaking the rules. But you can be anti-Semitic, homophobic, and racist on social media. That is absolutely fine. Who else am I going to say hello to? Just Deb, 1996. Thank you, Just Deb, for listening to the end. I love all of you who listen to the end. I can't fucking believe you do that. And send me more because I'm not good. I try to write them down, and then now I have 3 on this episode to make up for the none on the last episode. All right. So thank you all for being fans. Thank you for listening. I love you all. Oh, here comes the police coming to pick me up. I can't fucking record here anymore because it's so it's ridiculous, but it is New York City. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. I love all of you equally. And as we always say, so long. Gaga.